Commander Park Ji-ho sat in the control room of Luna Station, watching the endless stream of data flowing across his screens. The year was 2387, and humanity had spread to 12 worlds beyond Earth. Most people thought they were safe in their corner of the galaxy. Park Ji-ho knew better. His coffee had gone cold hours ago, but he barely noticed. The deep space sensors were picking up something strange. First it looked like space debris, or maybe a small asteroid field. But the readings were getting stronger, and they were moving in formation. Commander called Communications Officer Lee Mina from her station. Her voice was tight with concern. "I'm detecting massive energy signatures approaching the Sol system. 17 objects, all moving together." Park Ji-ho pushed back from his desk and walked over to her station. The main display showed 17 red dots moving through space toward Earth. Each dot was huge, much larger than any human ship ever built. "How long until they reach us?" he asked. Lee Mina worked quickly on her computer. "At their current speed, they'll be here in 6 hours. Park Ji-ho felt his stomach drop. 6 hours was not enough time to prepare for anything. He reached for the emergency communication device on his belt. "Get me Admiral Kim Sung-min. Priority Alpha." The connection opened immediately. "Admiral Kim." Sung-min's face appeared on the screen. He was an older man with gray hair and sharp eyes. He had been protecting Earth for 30 years. "What do you have, Park?" the Admiral asked. 17 unknown vessels approaching Earth. They're big, Admiral. Bigger than our largest ships. And they're moving in perfect formation. The Admiral's expression became serious. "Send me all the data. I'm calling an emergency meeting of the Elite Command." The screen went dark. Park Ji-ho looked around the control room. Everyone was working faster now, checking systems and running diagnostics. They all knew something big was coming. 2 hours later, the alien ships were close enough to get a better look. They were unlike anything humans had ever seen. Each ship was smooth and dark, shaped like a long triangle. Strange lights pulsed along their sides. Even from far away, they looked dangerous. Lieutenant Colonel Choi Hae-yeon arrived at Luna Station. To study the alien ships, she was Earth's best expert on alien life, though she had never seen a real alien before. No human had. "They're definitely not natural," she said, looking at the sensor data. "These are constructed vehicles. And they're using technology we don't understand." Captain Yoon Tae-young joined them in the control room. He was head of special operations, a quiet man who planned for the worst possible situations. "Any weapon signatures?" he asked. "The entire hull of each ship is giving off energy readings," Choi Hae-yeon replied. "I think the whole ship might be a weapon." Before anyone could respond, Lee Mina's communication system came alive. A deep, strange voice filled the room. The words were in perfect English, but the accent was unlike anything human. "Primitive species of the third planet. We are the Valorian Armada. You will surrender your worlds to us. You have 7 rotations of your star to comply with our demands." The message repeated 3 times, then stopped. The control room was silent. Park Ji-ho was the first to speak. 7 days. "They're giving us 7 days to surrender. They called us primitive," Yoon Tae-young said quietly. "They think we're weak." The alien ships spread out around Earth, forming a large circle. They were close enough now that people on Earth could see them in the sky as bright dots. News stations around the world were broadcasting emergency reports. Fear was spreading through every human settlement. Admiral Kim Sung-min held his emergency meeting in the deep underground command center beneath the Himalayas. The room was carved from solid rock and filled with the most advanced technology humanity possessed. Leaders from all 12 human worlds attended by video link. "They have 17 ships," the Admiral began. "Each one is 3 times larger than our biggest vessel. Their weapons are unknown, but our sensors indicate they could destroy our entire fleet." Governor Park Sun-ho from the Mars colony spoke first. "What are our options? Can we fight them?" "Not with conventional weapons," replied General Shin Dong-yuk. "Their ships are too advanced, but we do have other options." Major Jung Woo-young, who was in charge of civilian evacuation, reported that major cities were being quietly cleared. "People are scared, but they're following instructions. We can have all essential populations in secure locations within 5 days. Dr. Han Suman, head of the Prometheus Research Division, sat quietly in the corner she had been waiting for. This day for 20 years. Admiral, I need to speak with you privately after this meeting. The Valorian ships began sending out small scout vessels. These smaller ships scanned Earth's defenses, cataloging every military base, every weapon, every ship. The aliens were clearly confident. They took their time, studying humanity like scientists studying insects. Commander Vexthel stood on the bridge of his flagship, reviewing the scan results. His species had conquered 47 worlds using the same methods. First, they studied the primitive species. Then they demonstrated their power. Finally, they took control with minimal effort. Report, he commanded his tactical officer. Their technology is extremely primitive, Commander. They use chemical rockets and simple projectile weapons. Their largest ships are barely 1/10 the size of our scouts. They have no energy shields, no advanced weapon systems. Commander Vextel felt satisfied. How long to complete the conquest? Less than one rotation of their star, Commander. Possibly much less. Back on Earth, the alien scout ships finished their scans and returned to the main fleet. The Valorians now had complete information about human defenses. At least they thought they did. Captain Yoon Tae-yoon watched the enemy. Scouts through his binoculars from a hidden observation post. They're thorough, he said to his assistant. But they're only seeing what we want them to see. The scout ships had detected every military base, every weapon, every ship that appeared on the surface. But they had missed the most important things. They had missed the facilities hidden deep underground. They had missed the weapons disguised as civilian equipment. They had missed the fact that every human installation had been designed to look weaker than it really was. Park Ji-ho received a coded message from Admiral Kim Seung-min. The message was simple. Directive 77 Alpha is now active. Tear. For Phase 1, he looked around the control room at his team. Lee Mina was monitoring alien communications. Choi Hae-yeon was analyzing their technology. Yoon Tae-young was planning defensive strategies. They all looked worried, but they were ready. How long until the 7 days are up? Park Ji-ho asked. 5 days. 14 hours, Lee Mina replied. Park Ji-ho nodded. The Valorians thought they were fighting a primitive species with simple weapons. They had no idea what humanity had been preparing for the past 300 years. Soon, they would learn the truth about Earth's defenses. The alien ships continued their slow orbit around Earth, confident and patient. They believed the conquest would be easy. They had no idea that their countdown had become humanity's countdown. As well, in the depths of space, other systems began to activate. Systems that had been sleeping for decades were waking up. The real war was about to begin. 48 hours had passed since the Valorian Armada first appeared in Earth's space. Commander Vextel stood in his command chamber, studying the holographic displays that showed Earth's defenses. Everything looked exactly as he had expected from a primitive world. Show me their military installations again, he ordered his tactical officer. The display changed to show Earth's surface. Red markers indicated human military bases, weapons facilities, and ship construction yards. There were dozens of them, but they all used simple technology. The humans had metal ships that burned chemical fuel. Their weapons shot small pieces of metal. Their communication systems were basic radio waves. This will be easier than the conquest of Zather Prime, Vextel said with satisfaction. At least the Zatheri had energy weapons. His science officer, a tall being with 4 arms, approached the command platform. Commander, we have completed our analysis of their defensive capabilities. They possess no energy shields, no particle weapons, and no faster-than-light combat vessels. Vextel nodded. Excellent. Begin Phase 2 of the Conquest Protocol. On. Earth General Shindong-yuk was coordinating with the colonial governments through secure quantum communication links. Each of the 12 human worlds was reporting the same thing. Alien ships had appeared in their systems. The Valorians were focusing all their attention on Earth. They think we're the center of human civilization, he explained to the emergency council. They believe if they take Earth, the colonies will surrender without a fight. Dr. Han Suman finally spoke up from her corner of the room. General, It's time to activate the Prometheus protocols. Can't wait any longer. Admiral Kim Sung-min looked at her carefully. Are you certain the systems are ready? We've never tested them under real combat conditions. We've been preparing for this moment for 3 centuries, Dr. Han replied. The systems are as ready as they'll ever be. Major Zheng Wuyang was busy coordinating civilian evacuations from major cities. The process was going smoothly because it had been planned and practiced for decades. Every human settlement had evacuation routes and safe zones. People were scared, but they trusted their leaders. Evacuation of Seoul is 70% complete, he reported. London and New York are at 80%. The Valorians don't seem to notice the population movements. Good, Admiral Kim said. They're seeing exactly what we want them to see. Captain Yoon Tae-young was implementing the most important part of Earth's defense plan. Across the solar system, dozens of facilities were receiving coded signals. These signals activated systems that had been dormant for years. The asteroid mining, Station Beta 7 received its activation code. To the Valorians, it looked like a simple mining operation. But as the code was entered, the station's true purpose was revealed. Hidden weapon systems extended from concealed compartments. The mining lasers reconfigured themselves into military-grade particle cannons. Similar transformations were happening throughout the solar system. The scientific research station near Jupiter suddenly sprouted missile launchers. The communication relay near Mars revealed itself to be a heavily armed fortress. The cargo ships moving between worlds jettisoned their outer hulls to show they were actually military vessels. But the Valorians noticed none of this. Their attention was focused on Earth, and they were seeing only what humanity wanted them to. Commander Vextel decided it was time to demonstrate Valorian power. This was standard procedure for his species. They would destroy a minor military target to show the primitive species what would happen if they resisted. Select a target, he commanded. Something visible but not strategically important. Want to frighten them, not destroy valuable resources. His tactical officers studied the display. There is a communications facility in the asteroid belt. It appears to be lightly defended and serves no military purpose. Perfect, Vextel said. Send Scout Ship 7 to destroy it. Make sure the humans can detect the energy signature. We want them to see what our weapons can do. The scout ship detached from the main fleet and began moving toward the asteroid belt. It was sleek and fast, equipped with powerful energy weapons. The pilot was confident this would be an easy mission. What the Valorians didn't know was that the communications facility was actually Cerberus Station, one of humanity's most advanced automated defense platforms. It had been built 50 years ago and had been waiting in sleep mode ever since. As the Valorian scout ship approached, Cerberus Station's sensors detected the incoming threat. The station's artificial intelligence, which had been dormant for decades, suddenly came online. It took exactly 0.3 seconds for the AI to identify the alien vessel as hostile. The station's weapon systems activated instantly. A concentrated particle beam, invisible to the naked eye, lanced out from the hidden platform. The beam struck the Valorian scout ship with the force of a small star. The alien vessel simply vanished. One moment it was there, the next moment there was nothing but scattered atoms and fading energy. On the Valorian flagship, alarms began sounding immediately. The tactical officer stared at his displays in shock. Commander, Scout Ship 7 has been destroyed. The energy signature suggests an extremely powerful particle weapon. Vextel felt the first stirring of concern. Where did the attack come? From unknown commander, who detected the energy discharge, but we cannot locate the source. It appeared to originate from empty space. Scan the area again. Use full power. The Valorian fleet turned all their sensors toward the asteroid belt. They found nothing. Cerberus Station had returned to sleep mode, its hull perfectly camouflaged to look like a simple asteroid. On Earth, Admiral Kim Sung-min received the report with satisfaction. Cerberus Station has engaged and destroyed one enemy scout ship. The station is returning to stealth mode. Good, said General Shindong-yuk. Now they know we're not completely helpless. But they still don't know what they're really facing. Dr. Han Suman was already working on the next phase. Admiral, I need authorization to activate the secondary defense grid. The Valorians will be more cautious now. Granted, Admiral Kim replied. Begin Phase 3 preparations. Lieutenant Colonel Choi Hae-yeon had been studying the wreckage of the destroyed scout ship. Human ships had quickly moved to collect the debris before the Valorians could recover. Their technology is advanced, but it's not invincible, she reported. Their shields couldn't stop our particle beam. Captain Yoon. Tae-young was coordinating with military units across the solar system. All stations report ready for Phase 3. The Valorians still haven't detected our hidden installations. Commander Vextel was having his first real doubts about this conquest. The humans had destroyed one of his ships with a weapon he couldn't even locate. This was not supposed to happen when fighting a primitive species. Increase security protocols, he ordered. No more single-ship missions. All scouts will now operate in groups of 3. Commander, his science officer said hesitantly, perhaps we should request reinforcements from the home fleet. Vextel turned to stare at him. Reinforcements? To conquer a single primitive world? It would be a humiliation our species has never experienced. Yes, Commander. But if they have weapons we cannot detect, then we will find them and destroy them, Vextel said firmly. Double the sensor sweeps. I want every piece of space debris in this system analyzed. These humans are more clever than we first thought, but they are still primitive. As the Valorian fleet increased their scanning efforts, more human systems were quietly coming online. The real war was about to begin, and the aliens had no idea what they were walking into. The countdown continued. 5 days remained until the Valorian deadline. But now, both sides knew this would not be a simple conquest. The destruction of the Valorian scout ship sent shockwaves through both fleets. On Mars, Colonel Bae Jinwoo was monitoring deep space communications when his secure terminal came. Alive with an encrypted message from Earth Command. The words were simple, but carried enormous weight. Directive 77 Alpha is now active. All units to battle stations. Repeat, all units to battle stations. Colonel Bae had been waiting 20 years to receive this message. He immediately walked to his command center and entered his authorization codes. Around him, the Mars Defense Station began to transform. What had appeared to be a simple research facility started revealing its true nature. The outer walls slid away to expose massive weapon arrays. The communication tower extended upward, revealing sophisticated sensor equipment. The landing pad opened like a flower, showing launch bays filled with advanced fighter craft. This is Mars Command to all units, Colonel Bae announced. Operation Awakening is now in effect. All hidden. Systems are authorized for activation. Across the solar system, the same scene was playing out on dozens of installations. The mining platform near Europa suddenly bristled with missile launchers. The asteroid processing station in the belt revealed itself to be a heavily armored fortress. Even the space elevator connecting Earth to its orbital stations had been designed with a dual purpose. Hidden within its structure were the components of a massive railgun. Captain Oh Hae-jin was commanding what everyone believed to be a scientific research vessel called the Sejong. She had been studying ice samples from the outer planets for the past 6 months. Her crew of 12 scientists and technicians had been maintaining their cover perfectly. When the activation message arrived, Captain O gathered her crew in the main laboratory. "Remove your civilian clothes," she ordered. "It's time to show these aliens what we really are." The crew members opened hidden lockers and pulled out military uniforms. Dr. Park Youngman, who had been pretending to be a geologist, revealed himself. To be a weapons specialist, Engineer Kim Do-yoon had actually been maintaining the ship's concealed combat systems for months. Captain O walked to what appeared to be a standard scientific control panel. She entered a complex code sequence, and the entire ship began to change. The outer hull shifted and reconfigured. The laboratory equipment folded away to reveal weapon controls. The research vessel Sejong was actually the prototype warship Thunder. "Systems coming online," reported Kim Do-yoon. "Quantum shields at full power. Gravitational drive ready. Particle cannons charging." The ship's transformation was incredible. Its engines, which had been designed to look like simple chemical rockets, revealed themselves to be advanced gravitational manipulators. The vessel could now accelerate instantly in any direction. Its hull, which had appeared to be standard metal, was actually composed of exotic matter that could bend light around it. "We're invisible to their sensors," Captain O announced. "They have no idea we're here." The Valorians were becoming increasingly confused. Their deep space sensors were detecting energy signatures all over the solar system, but they couldn't locate the sources. Commander Vextel was pacing his command deck, demanding answers from his officers. "Port?" he commanded his science officer. "Commander, we are detecting massive energy sources throughout this system. But when we focus our scanners on the locations, we find nothing. It's as if the humans have weapons that exist and don't exist at the same time." Vextel felt a chill run through his body. In 47 previous conquests, he had never encountered anything like this. "What about their technology level? Are you certain they're primitive, Commander? The surface installations still appear primitive, but these new energy signatures suggest technology far beyond our own understanding." On Earth, Admiral Kim Sungmin was coordinating the awakening from the hidden command center deep beneath the Himalayas. The facility had been carved from solid rock and shielded with exotic matter. It was completely invisible to any known scanning technology. "Status report," the Admiral requested. General Shin Dong-yuk consulted his displays. "Phase 3 is proceeding perfectly. 67 hidden installations have come online. Valorians are detecting our energy signatures, but cannot locate our positions." Dr. Han Suman was finally able to reveal the work she had been doing for the past 30 years. "Admiral, the Prometheus Defense Network is fully operational. We have been preparing for this moment since the first human colony was established." "Explain the situation to me again," Admiral Kim said. "Want to make sure I understand our capabilities." Dr. Han activated a holographic display that showed the entire solar system. Every human installation for the past 3 centuries has been designed with this moment in mind: mining stations, research facilities, communication relays, even civilian settlements. All of them have hidden military capabilities. She pointed to various locations on the display. "The Valorians have been scanning for primitive weapons. Found exactly what we wanted them to find. But they completely missed our real defenses." Major Zheng Wuyang had finished the civilian evacuations and was now coordinating military preparations. "All essential personnel are in secure locations. Combat units are standing by for orders." "Good," Admiral Kim said. "Now we show them what human preparation looks like." The Valorian fleet was trying to adapt to this new situation. They had spread their ships wider around Earth, hoping to detect the source of the mysterious energy signatures. But every time they focused their scanners on a particular location, they found nothing. Commander Vextel was receiving reports from his scouts. "The humans appear to have some kind of cloaking technology. We can detect energy output but cannot locate the actual weapons." "Impossible," Vexel replied. "Cloaking technology requires massive energy expenditure. A primitive species cannot have developed such advanced systems. Commander, perhaps they are not as primitive as we first believed." Vextel refused to accept this possibility. "Double our scanning efforts. Use every sensor we have. These humans are using some kind of trick, but we will find their weakness." Meanwhile, Captain Yoon Tae-young was implementing the next phase of Earth's defense plan. Hidden facilities throughout the solar system were beginning to coordinate their actions. The Valorians were about to learn that humanity's greatest strength was not any single weapon, but their ability to work together. "All units report ready for Phase 4, he announced to Admiral Kim. "Valorians still believe they're fighting a primitive species with a few hidden weapons. They have no idea what's coming." Dr. Song Min-yuk, Earth's leading physicist, was monitoring the alien fleet from his laboratory. "Admiral, I've been studying their ship configurations. They're designed for fighting species with similar technology levels. They're not prepared for asymmetric warfare." "Explain," Admiral Kim requested. "Their ships are powerful, but they're built for direct confrontation. They expect to face an enemy fleet in open space combat. They're not designed to fight an enemy that can attack from any direction at any time. Captain O'Hygen was now piloting the Thunder through the outer edges of the Valorian formation. Her ship was completely invisible to their sensors. She could see their vessels clearly, but they had no idea she was there. "This is Thunder to Earth Command," she reported. "I'm inside their perimeter. Their shields are configured to stop large-scale attacks, but they're vulnerable to precision strikes." "Understood," Admiral Kim replied. "Continue reconnaissance. Do not engage unless ordered." The Valorians were becoming more aggressive in their scanning efforts. They sent out more scout ships, trying to find the source of the energy signatures. But the human installations remained hidden, camouflaged by technology the aliens couldn't understand. Colonel Bei Jinwoo watched a group of 3 Valorian scouts approach his position on Mars. "They're getting closer," he reported. "Should I engage?" "Negative," Admiral Kim replied. "Let them come. We want them to feel confident." The Valorian scouts passed within a few kilometers of the Mars Defense Station. Their scanners showed them exactly what they expected to see: a small research facility with primitive equipment. They had no idea they were flying past one of humanity's most powerful weapons platforms. "The humans are cleverer than we thought," Commander Vexel admitted to his officers, "but cleverness will not save them from our superior firepower. Prepare for full-scale assault. We'll destroy every human installation we can find." "Commander," his tactical officer said hesitantly, "what if there are more hidden weapons?" "Then we will find them and destroy them too," Vexel replied. "We are the Valorian Armada. Do not retreat from primitive species." But as the alien fleet prepared for their assault, they had no idea that humanity's real war was just beginning. The awakening was complete. Now it was time for the hunt to begin. 36 hours had passed since the first Valorian ship was destroyed. The alien fleet was no longer the confident predator it had been when it first arrived. Commander Vexthal was discovering that the hunters had become the hunted. Lieutenant Commander Kwon Jisoo piloted her stealth interceptor through the heart of the Valorian formation. Her ship, the Ghostwalker, was completely invisible to their sensors. She flew between their massive vessels like a shadow, recording their positions and studying their weaknesses. The Valorian ships were impressive, but they were designed for fighting enemies they could see. Their weapons were powerful, but they pointed in predictable directions. Their shields were strong, but they had gaps that a small, fast ship could exploit. "This is Ghostwalker to Earth Command," she whispered into her communication device. "I'm recording their shield frequencies and weapon positions. These ships are built for conventional warfare." "Understood," came Admiral Kim Sungman's voice. "Continue surveillance. We need to know everything about their capabilities." Kwon Jisoo guided her ship closer to the Valorian flagship. She could see Commander Vexel through the bridge windows, but he had no idea she was there. The alien commander looked worried, constantly checking his displays and demanding reports from his officers. Meanwhile, Admiral Kim was coordinating Earth's response from the hidden command center beneath the Himalayas. The massive facility had been built over 50 years ago, carved directly into the mountain and shielded by layers of exotic matter. No scanner in the galaxy could detect it. "Phase 4 is authorized," Admiral Kim announced to his staff. "Show." "Then what happens when they threaten Earth?" The first sign of Phase 4 came when the Valorian communication systems began to fail. Captain Ru Yemen, commanding the electronic warfare vessel Guanggato, was orchestrating a complex digital attack against the alien fleet. "Their communication frequency is 847.3 terahertz, reported his technical officer, Lee Sunwoo. "I'm inserting interference patterns now." The Valorians suddenly found themselves unable to communicate between ships. When they tried to send messages, they received only static. When they attempted to coordinate their movements, their signals were scrambled and redirected. "What is happening to our communications?" Commander Vexthal demanded. "Unknown, Commander," his communications officer replied. "We are being jammed by sources we cannot locate. The interference appears to be coming from multiple directions at once." Captain Ru was not finished. His ship released millions of tiny nanobots into space. These microscopic machines were designed to infiltrate alien computer systems, attached themselves to the Valorian ships, and began working their way through the hull, searching for access points to the electronic systems. Within hours, the nanobots had found their way into the Valorian navigation computers. The alien ships began experiencing mysterious malfunctions. Their course calculations became inaccurate, and their targeting systems started providing false information. Their sensor readings became unreliable. Commander, the navigation officer, reported with panic in his voice. Our systems are malfunctioning. We cannot trust our instruments. Vextel felt fear creeping into his mind. This was not how conquests were supposed to go. Run full diagnostics on all systems. Find the source of these problems. But the problems were just beginning. Major Park Soyeon was preparing for the most dangerous mission of her military career. She commanded a special operations team trained for one specific purpose: boarding enemy vessels. Her team of 12 elite soldiers wore advanced armor that made them nearly invisible. Their weapons fired concentrated plasma that could cut through any known material. They had been training for this mission their entire adult lives. Target acquired, Major Park announced as her team approached a Valorian cruiser in their stealth transport. Beginning boarding operation. The human transport attached itself to the alien ship's hull, using magnetic clamps. The soldiers cut through the metal using plasma torches, creating an entry point that the Valorians could not detect. Within minutes, they were inside the enemy vessel. The interior of the Valorian ship was strange and alien. But Major Park's team had studied the captured sensor data. They knew exactly where to go. The bridge was located in the center of the ship, protected by multiple security barriers. But the security barriers were designed to stop conventional attacks, not invisible soldiers with plasma weapons. The team moved through the ship like ghosts, eliminating any alien they encountered before the creature could raise an alarm. Bridge in sight, Major Park whispered into her communicator. Beginning assault. The attack on the bridge lasted less than 30 seconds. The Valorian officers never knew what hit them. One moment they were manning their stations, the next moment they were unconscious on the floor. Major Park's team had used stun weapons to capture the crew alive. Bridge secured, she reported, beginning data extraction. Technical specialist Kim Min-jae immediately began downloading information from the alien computers. The data included star charts, communication, codes, ship specifications, and most importantly, the location of the Valorian homeworld. This is incredible, Kim Min-jae said as he reviewed the information. We now know everything about their technology, their tactics, and their empire. The captured Valorian cruiser was quickly taken to a hidden facility near Jupiter. Human engineers began studying every component of the alien technology. Dr. Choi Haeon led the research team that analyzed the ship's weapons and defensive systems. Their technology is advanced but predictable, she reported to Admiral Kim. They rely on brute force rather than innovation. We can counter their weapons. The Valorians were becoming desperate. They had lost contact with one of their cruisers, their communications were being jammed, and their navigation systems were failing. Commander Vextel realized he was facing an enemy unlike any he had encountered before. Send a message to the homeworld, he ordered. Request immediate reinforcements. Commander, we cannot establish communication with the homeworld, his communications officer replied. All our long-range transmitters are being blocked. This was the worst news possible. The Valorians were completely cut off from their empire. They could not call for help, and they could not report their situation. They were alone in enemy territory. Captain Yoon Tae-young was coordinating the next phase of the operation from his command post on Luna Station. All teams report successful. Completion of Phase 4 objectives. The enemy is isolated and confused. Excellent, Admiral Kim replied. Begin Phase 5 preparations. It's time to show them the true power of human cooperation. Lieutenant Commander Kwon Jae-soo was still moving through the Valorian formation when she noticed something important. Earth's command. The aliens are trying to regroup near their flagship. They're forming a defensive circle. You see it, Admiral? Kim confirmed. They're scared and trying to protect themselves. This is exactly what we expected. The Valorians had no idea that their every move was being watched by invisible human ships. They thought they were adapting to the situation, but they were actually following a path that humanity had predicted centuries ago. Captain Oh Jin was positioning her ship, the Thunder, for the next phase of the operation. All weapon systems ready, she reported. The aliens have no idea how many ships we have or where we are. Dr. Song Minyuk was analyzing the alien fleet from his laboratory. Admiral, their formation is exactly what our war games predicted. They're grouping together for mutual protection, but this actually makes them more vulnerable to our type of attack. Commander Vextel stood on his bridge, looking out at the stars that no longer seemed friendly. His mighty fleet, which had conquered 47 worlds, was being systematically destroyed by an enemy he could not see or understand. How many ships do they have? He asked his tactical officer. Unknown, Commander. We have detected energy signatures from at least 50 different sources, but we cannot locate the actual vessels. 50 ships? Vextel was shocked. The humans had appeared to have only a dozen vessels when his fleet first arrived. Where did they come from? What the Valorian commander didn't know was that humanity had hundreds of ships scattered throughout the solar system. Some were hidden in asteroid fields. Others were disguised as space debris. Many were completely invisible, using technology that the aliens could not comprehend. The hunt was accelerating. Human forces were moving into position for the final phase of the operation. The Valorians, who had come to conquer a primitive world, were about to learn what happened when they threatened the species that had been preparing for this moment for 300 years. Major Yang Wuyong received new orders from Earth Command. Begin evacuation of all remaining civilian personnel from combat zones. The final phase is about to begin. As the last civilian transports departed for safe locations, the solar system became a battlefield where only warriors remained. Valorians still thought they were facing a primitive species with hidden weapons. They had no idea they were about to face the full military might of human civilization. Commander Vextel stood on his bridge staring at the display screens that showed his remaining fleet. In 3 days, he had lost 4 ships to an enemy he could not see. His communications were jammed, his navigation systems were failing, and his crew was terrified. He made the decision that would seal his fate and the fate of his entire armada. All ships form defensive sphere around the 3rd planet, he commanded. If we cannot conquer these humans, we will destroy their world completely. The 14 remaining Valorian ships moved into a perfect circle around Earth. Each massive vessel began charging its planetary bombardment weapons. These weapons were designed to crack the crust of planets and turn entire worlds into burning wastelands. Planetary destruction weapons charging, reported his weapons officer. Full power will be achieved in 20 minutes. Vextel felt satisfaction for the first time in days. Let these clever humans try to stop planet killers. Even invisible ships cannot protect an entire world. On Earth, every monitoring station detected the energy buildup immediately. The Valorian ships were preparing to destroy the planet rather than conquer it. This was the moment that humanity had been preparing for since the first colony ship left. Earth Admiral Kim Sung-min stood in the command center beneath the Himalayas and activated the communication system that connected him to every human facility in the solar system. This is Admiral Kim to all units. The enemy is charging planetary bombardment weapons. Operation Prometheus is now authorized. General Shin Dong-yuk turned to Dr. Han Su-min with a grim expression. Doctor, it's time to reveal our final secret. Are the planetary defense systems ready? Dr. Han had been waiting 50 years for this moment. She walked to a control panel that had never been used and placed her hand on the scanner. Project Prometheus is online and ready for activation. Then activate it, Admiral Kim ordered. Show them what real human technology looks like. Deep beneath Earth's surface, in chambers carved from solid rock 5 kilometers underground, massive machines began to wake up. These machines had been built in secret over 5 decades using technology that pushed the limits of human science. Lieutenant Park Ji-hoon was stationed at Defense Platform Alpha, hidden beneath the Pacific Ocean. His job was to monitor the quantum field generators that would power Earth's ultimate defense. Platform Alpha is online, he reported. Quantum field stability at maximum. Similar reports came from defense platforms hidden under every continent and ocean. Platform Beta beneath the Sahara Desert. Platform Gamma under the Antarctic ice. Platform Delta in the depths of the Atlantic Ocean. 12 platforms in total, each one containing technology that could manipulate space and time itself. All platforms report ready, Dr. Han announced. The planetary shield network is standing by 4 activation. The Valorian weapons were almost fully charged. Commander Vextel could see Earth hanging in space before him, blue and beautiful and completely helpless. In 5 minutes, it would be a dead rock floating in space. 4 minutes. To full charge, his weapons officer reported. Excellent, Vexel replied. Finally, we will show these humans the price of defying the Valorian Armada. Admiral Kim watched the countdown on his display. The alien weapons would fire in exactly 4 minutes and 30 seconds. He waited until the last possible moment before giving the order that would change everything. Activate the planetary shield network. All platforms, full power. Lieutenant Park Ji-hoon pressed the activation button on his control panel. Around the world, 11 other operators did the same thing at exactly the same moment. The 12 quantum field generators came online simultaneously, creating a network of energy that surrounded the entire planet. The effect was immediate and spectacular. A shimmering barrier of pure energy appeared around Earth, extending far. Beyond the atmosphere, the shield was invisible to normal light, but blazed like a star when viewed through energy sensors. Impossible, whispered the Valorian science officer as he stared at his readings. Commander, they have created a planetary shield using technology that should not exist. What do you mean should not exist? Vexel demanded. They are manipulating space-time itself, Commander. This requires mastery of quantum physics beyond anything in our databases. No primitive species should possess such knowledge. The Valorian weapons reached full charge exactly as the human shield stabilized. Vexel had no choice but to fire. 14 beams of concentrated energy, each powerful enough to destroy a moon, struck Earth's shield simultaneously. The shield held perfectly. The planet-killing weapons that had destroyed worlds across the galaxy could not penetrate the barrier that humanity had built. The energy beams simply dispersed harmlessly across the shield's surface. Weapons had no effect, the weapons officer reported in shock. The planetary bombardment beams were completely absorbed. Vextel felt true fear for the first time in his long military career. How is this possible? Our weapons can destroy planets. Not this planet, Dr. Han said quietly, as she monitored the shield network from Earth. Not while we're protecting it, but the planetary shield was only the beginning. Admiral Kim activated the next phase of Operation Prometheus. Hidden fleet units. Reveal yourselves. It's time to end this. Throughout the solar system, humanity's true fleet began to emerge from concealment. Captain Oh Haijin's ship Thunder appeared first, materializing like a ghost inside the Valorian formation. Then came dozens more ships, each one equipped with technology that surpassed anything the aliens possessed. The mining platforms near the asteroids revealed themselves to be massive battleships. The research stations around Jupiter extended weapon arrays that dwarfed the Valorian guns. The communication relays throughout the system showed their true nature as military command centers. How many ships do they have? Vextel asked in despair. Sensors? Detect over 200 vessels, Commander. They have been hiding throughout this entire system. Captain Yoon Tae-young was commanding the battle from his flagship, the Seoul. All units begin final assault. Target their engines and weapon systems. We want to disable them, not destroy them. The human fleet attacked from every direction. At once, ships appeared from impossible angles, using technology that allowed them to move through space in ways that violated the Valorians' understanding of physics. The Thunder, commanded by Captain Oh Haijin, could accelerate instantly in any direction. Its weapons fired beams of concentrated gravity that could crush metal like paper. Its shields were made of folded space that deflected any attack. Colonel Bae Jinwoo led the attack from Mars aboard the battleship. Busan, his ship's main weapon, was a particle accelerator that fired streams of exotic matter. When the beam struck a Valorian vessel, it passed through their shields as if they didn't exist. The Valorian fleet tried to fight back, but their weapons could not track targets that moved like human ships. Their formation collapsed as human. Vessels attacked from above, below, and from directions that should have been impossible. Their ships are moving through higher dimensions, the Valorian science officer reported. They can attack us from angles that do not exist in normal space. Commander Vextel watched his mighty armada being systematically destroyed by an enemy that had seemed primitive just days before. Ship after ship was disabled by weapons he could not understand, using tactics that defied everything he knew about warfare. "Commander," his communications officer said quietly, "we are receiving a transmission from the human fleet." "Put it on the main screen," Vexel ordered. Admiral Kim Seung-min appeared on the display, speaking from his command center beneath the Himalayas. "Commander Vextel, this is Admiral Kim of the Earth Defense Force. Your fleet is defeated. Surrender now, and your crews will be treated according to the laws of war." Vexel looked around his bridge at the faces of his officers. They were defeated, and they all knew it. "How?" he asked simply. "How did a primitive species develop such advanced technology?" Admiral Kim smiled grimly. "We've had 300 years to prepare for this day, Commander. Every human installation, every ship, every weapon has been designed with one purpose: defending Earth from threats like you." The Valorian commander realized the terrible truth. Humanity had never been primitive. They had only appeared that way because they wanted their enemies to underestimate them. The real human civilization had been hidden beneath the surface, waiting for the right moment to reveal itself. "We surrender," Vextel said quietly. "Wise choice," Admiral Kim replied. "Welcome to Earth, Commander. You're about to learn what human hospitality looks like." 24 hours had passed since the last Valorian ship surrendered to the human fleet. The once mighty armada now drifted in space, their weapons disabled, and their crews imprisoned aboard their own vessels. The solar system belonged to humanity. Once again, Commander Vextel sat in his command chair, staring at the ruins of his fleet through the bridge windows. His flagship was crippled but intact. The humans had been precise in their attacks, disabling weapons and engines while leaving life support systems functioning. He activated his personal communication device and began recording what he knew would be his final message as a free being. The transmission was aimed toward Valorian space, though he had no idea if it would ever reach his homeworld. "This is Commander Vextel of the Valorian Armada to High Command. We have encountered a species unlike any in our records. The humans appeared primitive when we arrived, but this was a carefully planned deception." He paused, trying to find words to describe what had happened. "They did not simply defeat us, they were prepared for us. Every aspect of their civilization had been designed to counter a superior alien force. They have technology that surpasses our understanding of physics." The message continued for several minutes, detailing the impossible weapons and tactics the humans had used. When he finished, Vextel sent the transmission into deep space and waited to see what his captors would do with him. "Commander." Park Ji-ho was monitoring the alien communication from Luna Station. He intercepted the Valorian message and immediately forwarded it to Earth Command. "Admiral, the enemy commander just sent a detailed report about our capabilities to his homeworld." Admiral Kim Seung-min reviewed the message with satisfaction. "Good. Let them know what happens when they threaten Earth. This information will spread throughout their empire and beyond." On Earth, the victory celebrations were beginning in every major city. But for the military leadership, this was not a time for celebration. It was a time for planning the future. General Shin Dong-yuk was coordinating the occupation of the Valorian vessels. "All enemy ships are secured. We've captured over 3,000 alien crew members. What are your orders for handling the prisoners?" "Follow the Geneva Conventions," Admiral Kim replied. "These beings are now prisoners of war under Earth law. They will be treated with dignity and respect." Dr. Han Suman was already studying the captured Valorian technology. Her teams of scientists were working around the clock to understand how the alien ships functioned. "Admiral, their technology is advanced but inefficient. They rely on brute force where we use precision. We can learn from their methods, but our approach is superior. Colonel Choi Hae-yeon was leading the analysis of Valorian society and culture. From what we've learned from the prisoners, the Valorians are a military empire that has conquered 47 worlds. They use the same tactics on every planet: overwhelming force followed by occupation. And how do other species usually respond? Admiral Kim asked. They surrender immediately, Choi Hae-yeon replied. No species has ever successfully resisted a Valorian conquest, until now. Captain O'Hygen was commanding the captured Valorian flagship, which had been renamed the Soul's Prize. Human engineers were installing new systems and studying every component of the alien vessel. The ship will be ready for our first deep space reconnaissance mission within a month. Excellent, Admiral Kim said. We need to know what's out there beyond our borders. This attack proves that Earth is not as isolated as we thought. Major Jung Woo-young was overseeing the return of civilian populations to the major cities. The evacuation had been so well planned that most people were back in their homes within days. The civilian population is requesting information about what happened. How much should we tell them? Admiral Kim considered this carefully. Tell them the truth. Humanity has been preparing for this moment for 3 centuries. Every citizen has a right to know that their taxes and efforts have been protecting them all along. The news broadcasts around the world revealed the true extent of Earth's hidden defenses. People learned about the secret military installations, the advanced weapons systems, and the massive underground facilities. The revelation that humanity had been preparing for alien invasions since the early colonial period shocked many citizens. Dr. Song Min-yuk addressed the World Council about the implications of the victory. The defeat of the Valorian Armada will have consequences throughout the galaxy. Other species will learn that Earth is not a primitive world that can be easily conquered. Is that good or bad for us? Asked Council President Lee Jiang. Both, Dr. Song replied. We will face fewer attacks from opportunistic raiders, but we may also attract the attention of more powerful civilizations that see us as a threat. Captain Yoon Tae-young was already planning for future conflicts. We need to expand our defensive network beyond the solar system. The Valorians won't be the last aliens to threaten Earth, Admiral Kim agreed. Kim planning for project expansion. We'll establish hidden defense platforms in nearby star systems. If another alien fleet comes looking for revenge, we'll be ready for them too. Lieutenant Commander Kwon Jisoo was piloting reconnaissance missions to the edge of human space. The stealth ship could travel farther and faster than any previous human vessel, using technology adapted from captured Valorian systems. Deep space sensors are detecting multiple alien civilizations within 50 light years of Earth. We're definitely not alone out here. The interrogation of Valorian prisoners was providing valuable intelligence about the galaxy beyond Earth. Captain Ru Yemin was leading the questioning of Commander Vextal himself. Tell me about the other species in this region of space, Ru requested. Vextal was cooperative, knowing that resistance was pointless. There are dozens of civilizations within 100 light years of your world. Some are more advanced than the Valorians, others are primitive and weak. And how do they view humanity now? Word of our defeat will spread quickly, Vextal admitted. Every species will want to know how a previously unknown civilization destroyed a Valorian armada. Some will fear you. Others will seek alliance. Few may try to destroy you before you become too powerful. Major Park Soyeon was training a new generation of special operations soldiers. The techniques her team had used to board Valorian ships were now being taught to hundreds of recruits. The next time aliens threaten Earth, we'll have 1,000 boarding specialists instead of just 12. Colonel Bae Jinwoo was overseeing the construction of new battle stations throughout the solar system. We're building defensive platforms around every planet and major asteroid. No alien fleet will be able to surprise us again. 6 months after the Valorian defeat, Earth's deep space monitors detected new signals approaching from a different direction. The signatures were different from Valorian technology, suggesting another alien species was investigating the solar system. Admiral Kim stood in the observation deck of the new command station orbiting Earth. The facility was no longer hidden underground. Humanity had decided to show the galaxy their true capabilities. New contacts approaching from the Centauri direction, reported the sensor operator. Energy signatures suggest a scientific expedition rather than a military force. Interesting, Admiral Kim mused. It seems word of our victory is attracting curious visitors rather than vengeful enemies. Major Zheng Wuyong, now promoted to colonel, was addressing the newest class of graduates at the Elite Command Academy. The academy was no longer a secret institution, it was openly training Earth's defenders for the challenges ahead. Today, you inherit a legacy of preparation, vigilance, and victory, he told the young officers. The galaxy now knows that Earth cannot be conquered by force. But this knowledge brings new responsibilities. He gestured toward the star-filled sky visible through the Academy's dome. Out there are civilizations that have existed for millions of years. Some are peaceful, others are hostile. A few possess technology that makes the Valorians look primitive. Your mission is to ensure that humanity remains free and independent in a galaxy full of unknowns. The Valorian defeat was just the beginning of our story among the stars. In the final scene, deep space sensors detected the approaching alien expedition. But this time, humanity was ready not just for war, but for whatever the galaxy might bring. The species that had spent 3 centuries preparing in secret was now openly taking its place among the civilizations of the galaxy. Commander Park Jiho, now Admiral Park, sat in the command center of Luna Station, watching the new contacts approach. He smiled as he remembered the fear he had felt when the Valorian fleet first appeared. This time, he said to his staff, let's make sure they know exactly who they're dealing with from the very beginning. The message had been sent. Earth was no longer hiding. Humanity had announced itself to the galaxy in the most dramatic way possible, by defeating an empire that had never known defeat. The age of human isolation was over. The age of human expansion was about to begin.